Hello everybody, long time no see. I think it's been about 9 days since I did a last YouTube video, but I figured that I would walk you guys through how I've been organizing and how I've been approaching BookShark level H for my 7th grader. So I know I'm showing you the experiment book in here because everything else is in here. So what you get with BookShark, and I will be doing like a flip through some other time, but what I wanted to do kind of right now is kind of just show you guys how I've been approaching it and how I have my 7th grader doing it. So essentially you have these loose leaf papers and then you have your science experiments. Now your science experiments in here, it's kind of like a full, it is a full-on lesson. And I have him do this on Thursdays, but I just want to go and show you guys lesson 1. So lesson 1, you can see has this reading page, it has this page over here to read, and then it has this page over here to read, and then it has this page over here to read, and then you go through and it walks you step by step on how to set up your experiment that you're gonna do in here. And you have your draw conclusions in here. And it has things in red for you to respond to. You have like the takeaway in here. You see the big picture in here, opportunities to further extend that experiment. And then you have your planning sheet, like kind of like planning sheet / lab sheet over here. And then you have this that you're setting up your experiment. So he does this completely independent on his own. There are videos that you get when you do it. I think I just bought the package itself, and in the package the videos came included. I'm pretty sure that you can probably like purchase them separately, but I just want to say the videos are very short. Okay, it's not going to take you through like all the reading in here for all the things. It's kind of just going to show you the experiment itself. So we've only done 1 week of this so far. So I can only have, I don't know much about it so far, but I can just tell you from the very first video, it was 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it literally just shows you the experiment. It doesn't go over anything else. So if you're used to video-based lessons like the Science Mom, or you're used to Apologia, like their videos or something, this isn't going to give you videos like that. Okay, so when you see an option for the video lessons, it is literally just on the experiment, and that one that I did was 1.5 minutes. Okay, so this, and I'll show you the implementation guide. Actually, that will probably be helpful. So in here are just loose leaf pieces of paper, and I put it in, and I will link my Amazon shop down below, and all this stuff is going to be linked. I really like these Mead 5-star folders because you can flip it all the way back like this, and it kind of is just like a spiral notebook, and you can do that with all your stuff. You know, you can just flip it all the way back and stuff. So it has all these pockets in here that he can use for whatever he needs. Look, it even has like the old school, like to put one of like, isn't this for like the little flop drive, the little the CD flop, what are they called? Those little, the square ones that you used to put into the computer and stuff. That's what I'm always reminded of when I see this. I'm sure it's not just for that, but whatever. That's what I think of every time I see it. So anyway, you have like these file folders and things like that. You have your experiment paper packet in here that has everything, like, you know those planning sheets that I just showed you in here, and it had the lab sheets? It's also in here. So he doesn't have to write directly into the book. You can save it for another child if you want. And the papers that he will need come in here, you know? So anyway, back to what I was saying. This is what he did this week. Okay, so this is going to be just pretty much more of an overview on how this week went, I guess. Look, this video is now coming to life. I was like, okay, I'm going to show them how I organize and put together like my book and stuff. And now it's just going to be how we approached it this week. So you can see that there's day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 4 is our experiment day. And I kind of like really like that flow. Let's look ahead to see what week 2 is. And yeah, week 2 is pretty much the exact same. See, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And I really do feel like day 4 needs its own day because you saw that there's additional reading that you have to do for day 4. Yeah, look, day 4. Okay, yeah. Day 4, I was going to say there's additional reading in there, but there's not. Let's look at the, yeah, so this is pretty much day 1, day 2, day 3, you're doing your readings, and then day 4 is always going to be like your experiment day. So You have super simple biology. I am not too particularly thrilled with, hold on, let me go get it. Hold on. Okay. I'm not too particularly thrilled about reading directly out of reference book, especially considering BookShark is kind of known for being like a literature-based approach to it. So I was kind of hoping that there would be more literature interwoven into it, and there's not. But that's okay. I knew what I was getting myself into before I purchased it. They let you know up front what books you're going to be reading. That's fine because I can always add in additional literature on my own. But I left this up to my son. I gave him an option between this curriculum. He had Apologia, and then he had, there was another one that I gave him, Oak Meadow. And this is the one that he chose. And I asked him, are you sure you're going to be okay with just reading directly out of a reference book? Because to me, I feel like just reading out of a reference book is kind of dry. He said he didn't mind it. And he's all for it. And so I'm like, okay. So I just let him pick his science this year. And we'll see how it ends up going. But so basically, he has to read out of this book, okay? So you're reading pages 10 to 11, 14 to 16. Not a whole lot of reading, which is fine. You know what I mean? I much prefer that than being told to read 20 pages out of dry material like this, you know? So at most, he's reading 4 pages, at most, right? That he's reading out of the biology book. Then he has to do, out of the worksheet, problems 1 through 8. Then there's an optional do together. And then nothing you can see here in the experiment book. And then day 2, you're reading pages 12 to 13, 17 to 19, and then you're doing these problems. And by the end of day 3, you've done all the reading, you've done all the problems. So that way when day 4 comes around, you're just leaving that for your experiment, okay? It tells you the supplies that you're gonna need and shopping list, which is kind of cool. It tells you ahead of time what you're gonna need. I'm gonna tell you what I don't like out of their experiment box. I'm gonna take the camera off the stand and I'm gonna go and I'm going to show that to you here in a second. So anyway, so you had to do that. So let's take a look at this. So essentially he had to read pages 10, essentially to pages 23. Yeah, because here's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So pages 10 to 23. Let's see what that looks like in here. So you have in here. Okay. So he read this, which is mainly kind of just doing an intro on the scientific method, working with variables, taking measurements. He had to do some math. I heard from him sometime this week. Here are your different scientific models, questions in science, benefits and risks of science, finding the average. This was probably the math that he had to do for it. And then presenting data. See, it's a little dry. My personal preference is I would not have wanted this curriculum, but he liked it. So he wanted to do it. And I asked him at the end of the week, how's it going? And he said, it's going great. So I think, you know, he really just likes the independence of doing it on his own and stuff. Especially after coming off of the spring and basically the summertime where we kind of all did it together as a family, which has its place in time and he loved it. But I think he's also just enjoying having things under his own control, you know? So anyway, that was everything that he read. Not particularly exciting, but we're going to be getting to some, I hope, more interesting subjects. But because it's the first lesson, they're just laying the foundation. So that's what he read. And then he did the worksheets to go along with it. So what I do too is I kind of, before I send him off on his own, we kind of go through this together. So day 1, we go through all this just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We know what the expectation is. And then you can see day 1 is always like the heaviest amount of text. And then you can see day 2, there's barely anything here. Day 3, there's barely anything here. And then you have day 4 and you have all this stuff over here, which is more for your experiment and watching the experiment video. But literally the experiment video is just going to be just the experiment. It's like a minute and a half. Now the video quality is really nice. I'll see if I can insert like a clip in here. It's actually high quality, very modern, very nice, but it is only a minute and a half, you know? And then it has the answers down here. I leave the answers in here with my son just because I know him and I know that he's not going to cheat and he's not going to come over here and find the answers and do it just because he's not that kid. He is a rare breed maybe and that he really actually enjoys learning. He likes to enjoy learning. He likes all that kind of stuff. So for him, getting the answers and like cheating like that is not in his, it's not in his DNA. He just doesn't prefer that way, you know? So he has the answers in here. So what I have him do is he goes ahead and he does all the problems in here that he's supposed to do. He goes and he does it on his own. When he's done with it, so like when it tells you over here, do problems 1 through 8, then I have him go through and self-check. So he'll go through the answers and self-check on his own. He does the work on his own, he self-checks on his own, and then we touch base after class. Whenever he's done, he'll come and get me. I'm probably working. He'll come and get me and he'll say, I finished, I did this and this and this, I learned. He'll narrate back to me what he learned. We have a little bit of a back and forth. We talk about it. And then he tells me, you know, I had 8 questions and I got 100% on it. Or I had 8 questions and I got 2 things wrong. And then we'll discuss what it was that he got wrong, why he got it wrong. And that's pretty much the flow. So he enjoys it. And again, I think a lot of it is he's just enjoying the independence from it and being able to do something on his own and he asked me that, like, you know, if there's a day where I want to combine 2 of the days into one, can I do that? And I said, absolutely. Sure. So, you know, you can do the reading and you're just going to go ahead and do questions 1 through 11. So that way you're only doing science 3 days a week instead of 4. Absolutely okay. You know? And I think he just likes having that balance in there. And then don't forget BookShark, at least maybe, I don't know if it's because I got the packet or something, but you also get the hard copies of anything that would be in the book. So again, if you want to save the book for another child coming up and stuff, then you don't have to waste the pages that are in here, you know, like all these pages in here. You can just like save it so you can keep the book intact and stuff, you know. So he did his experiment on his own. Oh, well, actually, you know how we do the experiment? He goes ahead and he reads the entire lesson. He gathers all the supplies together, and then he does a demonstration for us. So myself and his little brother. So he goes and does a demonstration and he explains to us what is happening and what he's doing, which I think works out even better than had we just done it as a family in the first place. Because it's almost like he's the instructor. And because he's the instructor, he has to make sure that he really understands the process of what's going on, because he has to explain it to all of us, you know? So that ends up working out really well. So anyway, that is how our first week has gone, but I'm going to show you the box. And I feel like there's something that drives me crazy about BookShark besides the literature. And this is, I'm missing one human body book, but again, the human body book is more of a reference style human body. I think it's from the Usborne, I think it is, and it's just like an illustrated body book. But All in a Drop is one of the books, and then Heroes of the Environment, stories of people who are protecting our planet. And I think that is it. So it is this book, The Human Body from Usborne Books, and then this. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. I wish that there was a little bit more literature, especially because there's a lot of opportunity in here that we really could have incorporated a lot more stuff. I was hoping there was a table of contents here that I can show you. But anyway, that's how week 1 is going. I'm going to take my camera off the stand. I'm going to show you the experiment box that you can get with BookShark. Okay, here's a box that you get with BookShark in here. And we had to dig in it for some of the supplies that we needed. For instance, we needed sugar. Oh, no, we needed yeast. And then we needed sugar and something else. And it actually came in here. Now, here's the part that drives me crazy about this, okay? Is that, see, we're saving the little yeast and stuff. Is that nothing comes labeled. We had to take that out. That needs to get thrown out. Nothing comes labeled. So it doesn't say like lesson 1. Like this, like, I don't know what this is. Oh, I do know. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Directions, add water to the soil. So I'm assuming it's just soil. Okay. But do you see what I mean? Like, I wouldn't, if that wasn't over here in the back, I wouldn't even know what it is, which was the case for the very first experiment. There was a couple of mysterious, here it is. I don't know what this is. Like, how am I going to know what this is? UNFLUGEL. But some stuff I'm just like, I have no idea what it is. So I'm assuming hopefully when it comes time to that lesson, I'll be like, okay, maybe it's that mysterious brown packaging. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think if there's anything that is like mysterious that I can show you guys. Okay, here's some test tubes, which I think is cool. And their test tubes, by the way, are all glass, which I think are really that's really awesome. So this looks like it's like some sort of clay. I have a coffee filter. Okay, this actually comes labeled. So kidney beans, lentils, lactose enzyme in there. Oops. Did something just came out of it. Hold on. Because things aren't labeled, I better make sure I put it back in here. But it doesn't say like lesson 1, lesson 2, or anything like that. Hold on. So anyway, that's just a little nitpicky thing in here that I was like, because all the science boxes that I get from like Beyond the Page, or I'm trying to think of where else I've gotten a science box from. It all comes beautifully packaged. It says lesson 1, and then it has all the contents for lesson 1 in there. You know, so this is like an example of like, I don't know what's in here. And hopefully when it comes time to do the experiment, I will know and be like, oh, it must be that brown packaging. You know what I mean? So anyway, and that I got directly from the BookShark website and stuff. This is their Discover and Do Science Supply Kit for the level H. Oh, and here is the human body book. Here is the Usborne human body book. But you see, it's just another reference style book, you know, which I think it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love reference style books. I just don't like to make it like, that's not my primary way of like teaching a lesson, is through like reference style books. It's more of a supplement, you know? Anyway, guys, that is how the final week, clearly it's a Friday. That is how this first week of BookShark has gone for my 7th grader level H. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. Let me know if you've used level H, what your experience is with the curriculum and stuff. And subscribe if you guys are interested in seeing more. Catch you guys later. Bye, guys.